Now, that was model Heather Mills, who you may remember tragically had to have part of a leg amputated as the result of a road accident in August. Today, though, Heather looks very fit and very well indeed, and she joins us. It's really good to see you.
Thank you.
And you look brilliant.
I feel wonderful.
That's great. It's really, really good. Now, everybody who knew about your accident really admired your fighting spirit. I just wondered really what sort of keeps you going?
Everybody says that. I mean, I was just saying the clinic that I came back from, there was people dying of cancer and God knows what, and they're all saying, oh, you know, the best thing that happened was meeting you, everything's so positive. But for me, it's hard to handle because things that happen in your life and you just get on with it. It's as simple as that.
You have made a remarkable recovery. I mean, you look terrific and you sound terrific. Your whole attitude is really good. But you went over to America for this sort of, I suppose, what would you describe the treatment as?
It's basically a whole experience, a new way of living. They teach you how to educate yourself and become independent rather than relying on.
Right. So a lot of it's to do with what's going on in your head
so,
as well as anything else. How did you find out about this place?
My girlfriend had breast cancer, and she had a lecture in London and found out about it, so she went over there and stayed for 3 months and came back with absolutely nothing. And
really?
Since I've been over there for 3 weeks, I went there and I had a fully blown infection again. I'd been on antibiotics for 3 months. I turn up there and they say, get off the antibiotics immediately. They start crushing up garlic and oil and shoving it on my wound. Within 5 days, I was completely healed. And they give me a thing called wheatgrass, which is here, which I had to freeze to bring back from America.
Can you not buy this over here?
You can't. You can grow it for pennies. You just get the wheat seed.
And what do you do with it?
Well, you get wheat like the grain you use in bread, but unfortunately that's not very good for you because it's not sprouted.
Right.
And you stick it in a jar and you sprout it, turn it on a 45-degree angle.
Right.
And then to actually grow it into the grass, you stick it on soil.
Right.
And put a tray over it, and you can see how much energy it's got in it because it's got a thing called chlorophyll. Because in 4 days the tray is falling off because the grass is.
How do you eat it? Do you just eat it
You can
raw?
chew it or you can juice it, put it through a juicer.
Right.
And it tastes disgusting, like most of the best
Everything that does you good always tastes revolting.
If you take about 3 or 4 ounces, it tastes like pure saccharin, which I got used to through drinking too much Diet Coke, which I don't drink anymore.
Right. And is that all you have? I mean, what else? What other things do you do?
You do things called enemas, which are a mini version of a colonic, which I learnt about the most. It's a bit sort of too much for this morning's TV.
Yes, we won't go into detail about that. I think we know.
I didn't go for 3 weeks in hospital, and they had no cure for that. So
that's extraordinary.
They teach you how to do that. It's just a whole education. I mean, I had my blood analysed. I had we did microscopic tests on what happens with my infection when you put sugar in it, and it was just multiplying. It was eating away.
Well, the thing is, it's obviously worked for you. I mean, whatever you may think about it, whatever people at home might be saying, oh, I don't know about that, but it's worked for you. You look great. Hilary, I mean, is this something that you would recommend to people?
Well, I'd need to know more about it. I've been chatting to Heather earlier, and I have to take my hat off to her courage, and she is a great example to anybody who's gone through the kind of things that she's gone through. A great example. And obviously this is the kind of thing that we associate with wacky health centres in Florida. It may sound to many people...
It's very Californian.
A bit Californian and wacky. But I think there's a lot in it. I mean, they call it the Hippocrates diet, and Hippocrates, you know, was famous for saying that, you know, let medicine be your let food be your medicine, and medicine your food. He said that 400 BC. And we know that nutrition is very important in health and disease, and we know that a lot of conventional medicine is based on the very physical. And what's lacking in conventional medicine is the ability to look after the way people feel about themselves and the way they look after themselves, the whole holistic area of medicine. And this is another example of that being taken on board so that people are able to feel good about themselves, able to compensate for whatever surgery, whether it's disfiguring or not, that they have. And I think that the basic philosophy here and the elements are fine. There's nothing wrong with that at all.
Sure, so
and I think it should be embraced as part of the NHS, as many complementary medicines now are.
Hippocrates was actually set up, though, 37 years ago by a lady called Anne Wigmore, who actually had gangrene of the legs and heard about all this chlorophyll-filled sprouts and things, and she cured herself completely of that. And there was also another lady that walked across 1,000 miles in England called Dr. Barbara Moore, who was actually very, very ill. And she cured herself, and everyone said, how did you walk that far? And she said, all I ate was grass and weeds the whole way.
It's amazing, isn't it? That's extraordinary.
They say that, you know, we follow the trends that happen in the States about 10 years later, and it may be that in 10 years' time, that many British patients, whatever they have, are into colonic irrigation and enemas and wheatgrass. You know, you never know.
If you think about dogs, what do they do when they're ill? They chew grass.
They're doing cats. My
yeah,
cat chews
exactly.
cats.
And animals are like, if you
look
look at the diseases in man, man's got 250 diseases. Animals that are herbivores have got anywhere between 5 and 10. So why drink the milk of a cow when you can eat the things that they eat directly and get the full protein from it?
It obviously has worked for